everybody, welcome to the channel for new battle reports. Just after the update, since the Infernal Dwarves book came out before the Ogre Khan book, I had the occasion to play a test game with the new book, which was also for me an occasion to provide some Infernal Dwarf content, because I've been making much more Ogre Khan battle report than Infernal Dwarf, so it's also good sometimes to bring them back on the table. I have unfortunately still a good part of my army which is unpainted, as you can see some model on the top left. My opponent has also some, so apologize in advance for the people who really hate battle report with partly unpainted army, but I think for practice game it's still okay as long as you can recognize what is what, basically. The list that I was trying for this battle is basically full anointed, 5, 4 and 3 with different weapons, 2 bull. I wanted to test the possibility of the bull to play in synergy with the anointed, to be hidden behind if I need to, and so on. I have a commissioner BSB with the Onyx core, still quite expensive but really effective. Another pyro, really wanted to try out the new pyro spell with binding scroll, 24 flintlock, 20 levies, 2 units of slaves, also something that I really wanted to try out, and a giant. My opponent was playing basically 2 character on foot, 2 shaman on foot as well, a big block of wild horn with the banner of the wild earth, 2 units of hounds as chaff, 2 units of wild horn with throwing weapon in ambush, 35 longhorns with great weapon full command, 6 razor tusk herds, 2 cyclops, 2 giant with a beer barrel. So a lot of combat threats, 2 big block with some good character on foot, some chaff piece, and then 4 monsters basically, plus a razor tusk unit that is still hard to remove due to resilience 5 and charging from far away. So decent looking list. We played on randomly Counter Trust Breakthrough, which is not a good news when you're facing ambushing scoring. Something that we played quite a lot against Max and his Beastard, which is always funny, but again, very interesting challenge for me. Spell selection went with the following, and on the right you have the spell selection of my opponent. So we both have quite a lot of spells, but nobody has a master. We both wanted to try out some different magical setup, and I think here you see already some of the effect of the balance update that makes a smaller caster more attractive, in my view. At least for most of the armies. Matchup analysis, so breakthrough will be hard to stop. I need to ensure that I put some of my scoring in his deployment zone. Vanguarding giant, Beastard likely to attack me, means I would be quite happy to start to do range damage and control the movement and take the initiative and get some board control. So definitely something I would be happy to do if I can. Lot of threats, so I will need to kill some to get some more board control and control about what happens in the game. His longhorn are the main treats. Sorry, I wrote that wrong, but you know what I mean. I need to be careful. It's 35 guys rerolling to hit strength 6. So I need to be careful, but the fact that they have no treaties make them fightable. What do I mean by that? I can reduce them with pyro shooting, and then maybe at some point try to engage them. Matchup and estimation, I think it's slightly in my advantage due to more range damage, and I think that's how I see it. Deployment, so what did happen? We have a quite similar map with 2 impassable, a hill, forest, water, and a field in the middle, and a ruin here in the back. I unfortunately won the roll for side, which had no big impact here. I just picked the side with the hill, and then he decided to start dropping on counter trust. It's often a good idea. He put some dogs in the middle, some giants here, and I think after that, I don't recall, but some other dogs I would say. And my 3 first drop were the first one, so he put dog first, I went with slaves, then giant, then my giant, and then my third and last one was some slaves. And then he dropped everything. So he has the 2 cyclops in the middle, the longhorn brick, the wildhorn brick. He has the 2 mages plus the general in the wildhorn, and only the BSB in the longhorn. Then here is another giant, and here is the unit of razor tusk. So yeah, he deployed for first turn, which means he can start, and these 2 models can do 26 turn 1, which is very annoying. I counter-deployed in a quite open way. So basically my first idea was I can play quite compact from the left towards the middle of the map, try to control this middle of the map while I pushing from the left, securing some breakthrough. And then the second idea was to try to play in front of him, play a more open game, and try to stop completely his attempt to go in my deployment zone. Which is the one I decided to pick to see if it was playable or not. I had the feeling this could work, so I really wanted to try out. I often in practice game try some riskier game plan that bring a bit more action to test some stuff, and then I can also decide between game plans after the game. So I think it's always quite interesting to do. So what I did is blocking the Vanguard move with the Anointed plus the Bull slightly on the hill, covering all these positions that the Giant might take. Then here you have some slaves, you have my unit of Vassal with the Mage, unit of Flintlock, my BSB's unit with Infernal Weapon Anointed, some other slave, some other Anointed with Pet Weapon, Discipline Banner, the Giant, and the General on the far right. So this is the small cheap Bull, Occultist Bull, and this is the Alchemy Adept on the Bull as well. Here's turn 1. So as you can see, he has huge mobility, so he puts his Giant in front of my slave, making any charge from the threats that I have impossible, which is smart. And then he started to push with his main brick. He had some respect for my unit on the right with his Wild On. He didn't want me to engage too soon. And he just took a strong position with the Giant, with using the Impassable in his advantage, something like to do with single model. And here what happens, he uses the dog to chaff my main unit, plus at the same time blocking my chaff piece, which is well done from him. So we'll see what happened in the magic phase. He got a small Hand of Heaven from Lightning Rambrace on my Giant, roll 6/6, did 2 wound to my Giant, quite a good start. And then he got some reroll to wound on the Wild Dawn in case I wanted to attempt the long charge. My turn. So I decided to take 2 charges with the slave. Basically here trying to get rid of the chaff, and here my idea was I'm likely, so I will not pop on the first run, I'm unstable, I can lose some wound and then organize some counter charges, which is what I decided to do. Reform the Vassal 5 wide in case he charged, that I have counter charge with the Flintlock mainly, move slightly back with the Flintlock to make this a long charge, an 11 basically, move them back as a counter charger position. Also my Adept in a position to cast a Spear on this model, and he also pushing slightly forward, but not too much, basically. In the magic phase, I got 2d6 strength 4, kill 4 of the Longhorn. I fail a silver spike on 2 dice on the Giant. And then with the Flintlock, since he was in the field, 6 up is hard to hit. I decided to go against the dog, and I killed 7 of them. Only one left. He passes his panic check on 9 rollable, no problem. Combat, I kill everybody except 1, meaning was able to flee, and I restrained. Didn't want to end up too high on the field, so I decided to just restrain since we are still quite far away. There's only one guy left, and here he kills some, but I just crumble slightly due to unstable. His turn 2, he decided not to take any charge. Yes, he did take 1. He charged with the Longhorn on a 9 against my vassals. I decided to stick since the flee move would put me somewhere here and he could just push me out off the board, which I didn't like. What would happen with the charge? Basically, he could charge here, overrun onto the Flintlock, and then I have some unit in position to counter charge. Depend how he can chaff me. I think it's kind of hard to make impossible for me to get an overrun here with a charge to completely chaff me. I think it's kind of hard. At least I will have 2 characters that can counter charge in the flank, and I would go before him. So I think it's not an easy fight, but I have a magic phase plus 2 counter charge. It would be very open. So I decided to stick. He failed that charge. He uses the lone dog to kind of chaff them, rally him on a 5 rollable. Here he kind of maintain the statu quo, and here he move 5 wide. And I kind of let him come where he wants with his ambush. My idea was, if I block this part of the map where he might just ambush here on the left, and I might never catch them. So obviously it's kind of annoying here in the back, but I think I have some reaction, and at least they are easy to grab. If I manage them, they are close to my units, so I don't have to run after them to get rid of them in my deployment zone. So it has up and down, we will see how that goes. Magic phase, he got end of heaven on my general, did nothing, and nothing particular happens. Close combat, I had 14 guys left. This time he rolled really good and popped all of them, so nobody left. He's free to get charged by my anointed. We'll see how that goes. My turn 2, so I charge with the anointed on his giant. I decided to charge with the bull against his 1 wound remaining dog. I took the BSB out to chaff his first ambush. I moved those guys 4 inches forward. Basically, if he charged me with the ambush, I would flee and end up in his deployment zone, which is nice. And if he doesn't charge me, then I'm looking at him with the flintlock to basically shoot him with some shots, but I don't get so much. Position the vassal out of the unit to cast a magic here. Reposition the bull, and here I made a conga line with the slaves to chaff his big unit. Basically, I had a charge on a 7 to go in his flank, which is kind of risky. He was quite close to me, meaning he could easily charge me, so I needed a way to chaff, and that's why I decided to go 1 wide, do that. Maybe with 12 I could have chaffed, I don't know. I think that was more or less my only solution, but obviously some risk because he can charge here and do some overrun. That's why I also organized some counter charges here. On the right, not much happening basically. In the magic phase, I got a silver spike to clean the chaff here, which is nice. Then I get a brass weapon to kill 3 of those guys, trying to force panic check, but I kill only 3. He dispelled 2d6 strength 4, obviously. And with shooting, I got a flammable token on the longhorn, which could be useful in the future. Close combat. He did 1 wound to me, I did 4 wounds to him, which is not much, so he is steadfast. 4 wounds plus 1 on the impact, I guess. I put the stats here. So 1 wound to me is the most likely outcome. Impact 1 is the most likely outcome, and then I roll 4, which is not so likely. I needed 5 or more to one-shot him, which happens in like 3 times out of 4, basically. But I think I could have just stayed 3 wide, march forward, charge him. I would have, basically my fear was, if there is some slave alive, then maybe I'm not going to be able to maximize the charge and I might lose a model that attacks him. But I think to stay 3 wide would have been wiser. So now I'm going to get counter charged by Cyclops, and this giant has like 11 attacks that are going before me, so basically my anointed are not in a good spot. Okay, what happened next? So he charged with the longhorn against my slaves, counter charged me with the Cyclops. Those guys turn around to kill my poor vassal conjurer. Those guys didn't move much. On the right didn't move much as well. He attempted a charge here in the flank on a 5 swift stride, I guess, 5 or 6, and he failed that one. His idea was to contact, as I think due to the length, he might be able to contact here. I don't know if he can manage the overrun. Yeah, maybe. I don't know if he can fit here due to the impassable. Maybe. But basically, I had, I think, good chances of those guys. I think they are. He's only strength 3 with most of the unit. He has a couple of attacks, strength 6 from the Beast Lord and some strength 5 from the Mage. I have a Bull as a counter charger, which is not so good, so maybe it was a bit risky. Maybe I could have done differently with the chaff to avoid these overruns, so I don't know, to be honest, I don't know. But luckily for me, he failed that one. In Magic Phase, I Binding Scroll, Whisper of the Whale, since my Mage is going to die. Then he got +1 attack on the Giant. I Dispel, roll to wound. Shooting, he killed my Vassal Mage, so I didn't had the occasion to use the new spell. Close combat, he one-shot the Anointed before I go, which is bad news. And he one-shot the Slave, which wasn't expected. He popped all of them, which means he can overrun, and he overrun into the flank of my Bull. I don't know if it was a smart decision or not. He could have just reformed. So I decided to overrun into my bull, meaning I have some good counter charge setups, so this is going to be interesting. Here I put the math from the attack. This is, I think, the giant. I had 8 wounds left, I guess. So as you can see, not so likely that I think that's the Cyclops, and that's the giant. So 8 wounds, it's kind of a bit higher than expected. So I expected at least to survive with the champion on 1 wound and try to kill the giant at least, which I didn't manage to. So after this, basically after this round, the overrun and so on, I was like, I'm in huge trouble, because basically I lost the left flank. As you can see, it has 2 monsters. I have some vassals and flintlock. Another ambush that I need to get rid of. I have Longhorn facing me. The right flank is the statu quo, and I have only a bull to help, which is not that much. So I felt this is now or never. So the plan I came up with was, I need basically, I can engage the Longhorn because I'm going to go before them. I have a magic phase, they have no buff on them. So I can try to charge with my anointed into this combat. This guy is going to attack before he dies. And then what I need is to stick these units. What I have to do that is a charge on 8 from the giant and 11 swift ride from the anointed. I need to get one of those to block them, because if you are stuck in combat, you can just counter charge me, and that's the end of the game. And this happened. So basically I charged with the giant, he failed the 9 rollable, fled, which is huge. For the record, I rolled 8 on the giant, so I would have at least stick him, which was what I needed. But that's obviously way better, because I didn't lose my giant in the process. So here I get the charge off. What else happened? Here I double charge his ambushing unit. Here I use his vassal to put them as wide as possible to kill giant with bow shots, and I put the flintlock to shoot at the Cyclops. In my magic phase, because I just thought to myself, these guys are a bit out of the game at the moment, so I can let them be here, and at some point I'm just going to turn around, shoot them, and there is a good chance they're just going to flee off the board. So I'm not so scared of them. In the magic phase, he binary scrolled the breast weapon, but I got +2 armor save on the anointed. And I think here, that was a key mistake from him. I think should have bind a +2 armor save. That means a lot on the anointed. He could have tried to dispel the breast weapon, but I think the +2 armor save is a key spell here. So I think here, wrong decision on the binding. That is going to possibly cost him a lot. Shooting attack, managed to finish the giant and do 1 wound on the Cyclops. Close combat. I killed some here, but he's stuck due to steadfast. I killed some here as well. He managed to strike back, but didn't do much due to my anointed being 1-up. So I was 4 armor save after his strength 6 attack, and I think he did only like 2 wounds. He killed my guy. He issued a challenge with his BSB. I took it with the champion. I think the right call could have been to take it with the bull, to be honest. Obviously I have 1 wound left. I have a low chance to getting rid of his BSB, but a good chance of surviving. And then my anointed can go full on his Longhorn. I think that would have been better. This round I managed to do 1 wound with my champion on his BSB that has a 2-up armor save, I think. That's all the combat. Beautiful picture. Let's continue. So he killed my bull with the Longhorn, obviously. His turn. He didn't rally those guys on a 9, no reroll. They continue to flee, but at least they're still on the board. Cyclops charge my vassals. Those guys turn around to shoot my Citadel Guard. As you can see, I'm really disappointed. I kill only. How much did I kill? Did I kill something? Did we forget to remove them? Yeah, maybe he has put dice or something. Because this looks strange. But I think he had a dice somewhere with the wounds that I did here. There is not 12 remaining. He smartly decided to tell me I use a giant. You cannot charge me with your giant because of the impossible. You can charge me with the anointed, but then he has 2 big units to counter charge me. So yeah, I think smart choice here. Magic phase. I dispel distracting and +1 attack because he has only his bound spell due to the fact that he didn't rally his mages. He got a hard target on the Cyclops and MR3. Close combat, I killed like 11, so a lot of them. He did some wounds, but not much. Here I kill all the guys and post-combat pivot. He broke me, didn't catch me. I ended up somewhere here. He ended up in front of me, but at least I cannot countercharge him. So at least that's that. My turn 4. I double countercharge with BSB General into this combat. As you can see, the BSB has only 1 wound left. Here, I do rally those guys. I did move those guys to shoot at the Cyclops. The Giant is in front of him. And here, those guys just turn around, move away. It's a charge. I think it's 11 here and 12 here. Something like that. So I wasn't too afraid of that. Basically just saving my points, and nobody except the Giant can charge my Giant, so I should be fine. In the magic phase, I got some hereditary on the Longhorn, I guess. Shooting, I did nothing on the Cyclops. And basically I kill all the Longhorn plus the BSB, so nothing left. And we stop after that the game because it was getting late, and as we saw, basically what's going to happen, here there is no way, the Cyclops has like 3 wounds left, so I'm going to get those points with everybody looking at him between the shooting and my characters. Is going to get the vassals, so I gave him the vassals. And here basically it's going to be, he's going not to take long charges or no big risk. He rallied those guys and just going to use the monsters and zone me more or less. And basically we're going to tie up the secondary. So that's how we decided to end up, which is 13-7. Post-game analysis. So I think my deployment was a bit too risky to go in front of him when he starts. I think that was not a good idea. Wanted to try out to make it an open game, but I think like I wrote at the last line, 9 times out of 10 I would have lost heavily this game. Especially with how I play at the beginning. Deploy more to the left, secure breakthrough while slowing him down. I'm going to show you a picture after how I should have deployed. While down, failing panic check was huge in my attempt to recover from a very bad start. Obviously, this was really, really huge. I didn't anticipate really his ambush. I could have used a bull to cover. I still don't know what was the right idea. But definitely this put some pressure on my backline and I needed to react and manage them. When he ambushed on the left, maybe I have more time to get rid of them. But the bad aspect of it is I need to go after him. So I really don't know. At the end, it didn't cost me, but it still forced me to take out the BSB and so on. The 3-man anointed should have stayed 3 wide to avoid steadfast, and then I would have been fine. List, no chance to test the new pyro spell, but after what happened early on, still with only my adept, he had 4 spell. I still managed to have a decent buff magic phase for close combat with only him on the board. I think the Beastard can have some regret about the right flank. He could have pushed more by using a Giant like he did, but a bit too late in the game. I think could have done that sooner. So that's it, guys, for this battle. Quite interesting battle report to make. Oh yeah, before I forgot, let me talk about deployment. So this is kind of an interesting deployment to discuss about, because this is a situation where he put everything for first turn. I put in red the unit that I already dropped so that I cannot change, but the rest was only counter deployment, meaning I could have done completely differently. So what I think I should have done is to put 3 strong scoring units on the left, so strong somehow, but 3 anointed, 4 anointed, the vassals, and these 3 units are going to get touchdown at some point. And then my main unit in the middle, and just leave the cheap bull here, put my general on the strong flank, and that's it basically. Right flank trying to slow him down with his 3 units, in the middle trying to slow him down or make him think twice before he pushed too hard, and then left flank push hard towards the middle. I think that would have been the best plan for me. Okay guys, that's it for the battle report. I hope you liked it. Talk to you soon on the channel. Bye.